Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Connor from Outboard. This video is going to be how to modify or add parts to your little outboard that is a pull start only, and this is how you're going to get it to give you 12 volt output so you can run, bilge pumps, headlights, whatever you need while the engine is running. Okay, so a lot of people run this to a battery, so it charges the battery and the battery can power everything else. So the reason why I'm trying to do this is I bought this boat, didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Bought a boat, was pull start only, no electric start, no trim, nothing. So this is basically a lawnmower engine. It doesn't need anything to start it. You just pull this cord and it starts up. But the downside is you don't have the ability to charge anything. So if you're going and your battery starts to get weak, you kind of messed up. So for 2022, what I've been trying to do is kind of repurpose this John boat. This is a 1436. Trying to repurpose it for a bunch of shallow stuff. We're trying to do a lot of say frog gigging and nighttime fishing stuff. So if we're gonna do that, there's gonna be a lot of lights, and I'm trying to avoid the generator at all costs. So that's the point of doing this. I understand that this only puts out maybe a maximum of 5 amps charge, but for the most part I think that'll be enough, because we're not planning to go all day all night. It's more or less just a couple of hours, So let's get started. Gonna take the cowling off and we'll put this sucker together. Okay guys, this is what we're dealing with. Like I said, it's a non-electric start, non-tilt and trim. This is the base model. This is the 9.94 stroke from Mercury / Tohatsu. If you guys want to know serial number, part numbers, it is right here. That's the actual model number right there. Hope you guys see that. And some people say it's a rebadge. It's not fuel injection, it's not EFI, it's still a carburetor. Okay, so there's the carb right there. I did a video on that a long time ago on how to fix some stuff, how to clean carbs, how to fix fuel pumps. So with that being said, here's all the electronics. So as you can see, we have that's like a water temp, some type of sensor right there. So we have one pickup right there, magnetic pickup, that gets converted to power somehow. And then here's your computer brain that does all the timing. And here is the spark generator, I guess is what you call it. Coil pack. Some people refer to that as a coil pack. And then here's your 2 spark plugs right down here. Okay, that's all the electronics for this boat. It's pretty simple. It's pretty daggone simple. What we're gonna try to do, as we bought this, these are magnetic pickups. Just think of it like that. Power pickups. They're gonna be installed under here. Okay, there's already one that's powering this. We're gonna put 2 more in to power the stator rectifier. That's all this is. That's what this is. A stator 12 volt rectifier. Like I said, it's a generic item, came off of like a motorcycle or something. But works just fine. If you know electronics, it'll work just fine. We're gonna put that in, and that should, I'm thinking we're gonna we'll have to find a spot to put that thing to. So one of these bolt holes, or somehow we're gonna have to fit that somewhere, and then we'll have to run power out. So we might have to come back through one of these ports that's on this side and run the power out to the battery, which is down here. I have my battery in here. We'll tie the battery off in there, and that should give us 12 volts. Plenty of power to run some headlights. Oh yeah, let's show you my headlights. So as of right now, we're just trying to give it enough power to run these headlights while we're running, so it doesn't drain the battery. We're planning to do a lot of, like I said, nighttime stuff. So right now it's only got one headlight, but we're gonna probably run a lot of headlights later. So That's part of the plan. But first things first, we got to make sure this thing even works before we start modifying it. So hang tight. We're gonna start her up. Let's do that again. It works. It'll be all right. You gotta make sure your engine's working before we start this. Alright, so we got 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3, and we should take that apart. Some tins, huh? And you need some more tins. Oh, they're not good. They're not good. Some fell out. Here's my washer for my other boat, or boats. Alright, so we got this thing that we're probably gonna hit off. So there's a big bolt up here. We're gonna hit that out, and shouldn't be too hard from there on out. There's some timing stuff. 19 on top. 19. That came out pretty easy. Now we got to remove this chunk. Gotta pull it up. But I have no idea if we're going to be capable of doing it or not. So what I've usually done is just hit it. And I think we got it. Oh, lucky, lucky, lucky. Got lucky. So basically, I think you have to keep this in time too. So we're going to do our best. I think there's a key in here. I'm not even sure, but I'm gonna rotate it because it's easy to do. I'm gonna rotate it until, just in case, right? Just in case. I'm gonna remember that 1 degree is right over this bolt on the back before we pull it off. And there is a key. No, there's no key. No, there's a key. There's a key right here. Well, right there, you can't see it, but there's a key, so there's no way you can put it back in wrong. See, key cut out right there. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. So you can't put it back in wrong. So basically, let me kind of explain what's going on. So you got this piece, you have this, you have 2 more seats, so that when this spins around, it creates power. It creates an AC power for the electronics people. For the other people, it creates the wrong power. So what we gotta do is convert it, and we got 2 of these for 2 of these. Okay, just know that, at least that much. Ready? Close up. Time for my close up. So this is actually the real part from the company. So I'm assuming it actually installs just like this. Like this way, just like that. Okay. And also, the guy that I bought it from was gracious enough to give me the bolts too. Otherwise, you'd have to probably buy some bolts. But see how it should just install like this? It should just install like that. So far, it's not installing like that, but it should. Should install just like that. And just like that. Yeah, just like that one. That one went in easy. Alrighty, so all I'm gonna do, there was actually threads in here. I didn't even check really, but it looks like there's threads. So we're gonna go real simple. You can even do this with hand tools if you want, but this is the internet, so we're gonna do the easy way. Just gonna go easy. Gonna go real easy. Because it shouldn't be cross-threading or nothing. It's just a little bit more resistance than I like to be using impact tools, you know. So What we're gonna do is we're gonna finish it off with hand tools. Cool thing about hand tools is you can control the tension a lot easier. But it's working good. It looks perfect so far. Sometimes things are just like meant to be. So we got this, right? And this looks like it's gonna be the perfect spot right here too. Right there, and just a standard 10. Well, this is the part where you're gonna have to get fancy, find your own bolts, but a standard 10 works great right there. See how that looks right there? Little white piece right there. Doesn't that just look perfect? That just looks perfect. So that's the rest of the build. And all we gotta do now is do electrical. That's all we gotta do now. Okay, let me show you guys what I got going, right? So I got this piece installed right here. Magically, there was a bolt hole right here. Put that in there. And it just looks, it looks like it's OEM, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna leave that right there. Shouldn't be a problem with the cowling. All the wires are kind of out of the way. This one's kind of in the way, but we will reroute that one. That's actually pretty important. This is the signal pickup line. So we might have to, you know, zip tie it off, kind of like that. Probably have to zip tie like that so it stays away from that, because it might get hot, right? But other than that, man, we're almost done. Just gonna splice the these wires into this, and bam, almost home free. Okay, let's snip this. Since we're not using a traditional connector that they've provided, we're just gonna snip it, and we're gonna splice it into this. If you've got the connectors, these round connectors, go ahead and use that. I think it's probably a good idea. I am just gonna cut this down a little bit. Kind of want that protective heat shrink piece there, still there, if you can. Put this back on. At least keep some of it on there. But from there on out, I mean, we got, forgot what exactly it was, but 2 of these is gonna be coming from 2 of these, and I'm sure the red's the output, and it's probably, taking a guess, red and green are ground, and then pink and yellow are gonna be from the stator. But let me double check. You're gonna have to double check yourself. Alright guys, here's the instructions for wiring. Okay, so when you're dealing with stuff like this, you kinda have to be an engineer. Kind of. Because color code is not followed, put it that way, especially when you're switching industries. But the components probably are the same, right? So let's take a look. So according to the wiring from the seller, it goes pink and yellow wires. AC input to the magneto, which is pink and yellow, is right here. I'm going to separate them like that. So these are our magneto wires, right? So basically, it doesn't matter. You can hook up which one, either one. It doesn't matter. Green wire is ground, and red wire is the output, like I said. So those two, we're just gonna run. I'll run the red on a fuse, and then I'll run it out to my my battery. So let's do that. So there's one of these generic fuses. You can buy them just about anywhere. They're like $10 at the AutoZone, or $3 on Amazon. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this red right here like this, and we're gonna heat shrink it. The green is just ground. So ground, we're actually gonna run the ground all the way out to the battery also, okay? Because this motor is not grounded to the battery. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna run 2 pretty long cables, and I don't even know if I have time to properly do it all, but you guys will get the drift. That's the easy part. This is the hard part right here. So let's get started on that. So for me, actually, I have a bunch of these connectors because I like to do all this hobby stuff. So I actually have these two connectors that I got out of this box of connectors. That I'll try to leave a link at the bottom so you guys can go pick it up if you want. It's a really good connector set for all the hobby guys. That way you have just about every single size there is. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do this. You know, strip that wire back, put it in, crimp it, put that in, crimp it, like that, and then we're just going to plug them right in to that. And that's part of the wiring on that. Okay? Should be pretty simple. Got it? Okay. Then we'll do butt connectors over here. Okay. Wire strip this off. And wire strip this off. Like I said, don't expect a lot of power out of this thing or you're gonna be disappointed. This is just very basic you know, headlights type stuff. Don't be thinking it's gonna charge your battery from a dead. I don't know if it'll be capable of doing that. Because from what I've read online, it only says this this charging system is only good for, I think it was like 7 amps or 6 amps. So for the guys that are wanting to charge a lot of stuff, you might want to think about something else. That generator might be the key for you. Okay. Being honest. Okay, being honest. Alright. Okay. Give it a little bit of tug. Not going nowhere. Oh, that's not good. See, that's why you give it a little bit of tug. That's no bueno. Alright, you get another one. Pinch it back down. I might not be using the right pinch part too. That's the other thing I was thinking. Alright. So once you got that, you know, might want to come from the other way too. Kind of just to crunch it in a little bit more. Kind of like that. A couple things you can do. You could either hit it with a heat gun, or you're gonna hit it with a propane torch of some kind. You want it so it's barely aflame, barely aflame. You turn it down a little bit more. Barely. If the flames are like maybe a ½ inch. Just kind of like that. Wave it back and forth on both of these. Both sides. Alright. That's how you're supposed to do it. Yep. You gotta be a little careful when you're using a fire. If you're using a heat gun, it'd be a lot easier. Alright, basically that's it. While we're waiting for these two to cool down, let's do the other two. So we got the red. These are just gonna go on. The red is actually gonna go on that wire or that fuse. So we're gonna have a butt connector on the red. But the green, we're just gonna run the green straight out. So once again, green with a butt connector. Okay. This should provide a pretty good connection here. It's not watertight, it's supposed to be, but when you crimp it, it kind of breaks the seal. So it's not truly watertight. If you really want it watertight, you can go ahead and apply some liquid tape on top of this, then it'll definitely be watertight. Unless you get the special tool. If you get the special tool, it might be watertight, but I don't have the special tool. I just have the regulator tool. So every time you crimp it, it doesn't stay. Right. So all we gotta do is just connect these. Connect that and connect that. That's it. And then you gotta find a way to conceal all this so that you don't get in trouble. There's a lot of spinning stuff up here, so we have to somehow manage this so we don't run into any problems. Okay, let's put it all back together. Everything's kind of tidied up, and we're just gonna put it back. So this is the top half with the key. So everything has been cleaned up right now. This wire comes here, I've drilled a hole here, zip tie. On this side, we've just pretty much zip tied it here, kind of keep this all together. I've run the magnetic pickup wires in line with the other magnetic pickup wires, and I've just kind of pulled it out, and then there's a little clip, and I've clipped it in. And then, as you can see on this side, the red and the green are coming out. I've already heat shrunk them right there, and then they come out this way, and then I put my fuse right here because I want to be able to change the fuse out easily if there's ever a problem. And then down here, you can barely see it, but there's this grommet. I took it out from this hole right here. Yeah, there's a hole for feeding. I guess this is where the original electronics goes. So we're going to do that. We're going to feed these wires through this grommet, and then we're going to put the wire. We're going to put both of these wires inside this protective sleeve, and then we're going to run it all the way to the battery. So that's what we're going to do. Stay tuned. Alright, everything's wired up. That's all finalized. This is all finalized. One last test. It looks pretty good. You know, might have to add a little bit more electrical tape, but I'm running it like this. Kind of just comes down here, follows this side, comes in through this. Alright, kind of follows this, which I've already got some power running to this connector for whatever you want. It's 12 volts, or we got it running to a power pole. So it basically goes in here, and here we have the black and the red. We're not going to wire them up just yet because we need to figure out. Actually, I just want to see if this thing will give you 12 volts even before connecting it up to a battery. So I just want to see if it's got 12 volts or not, or does it really need a battery before it can go. So easiest way for me to look at that is I have an onboard panel that kind of tells me what my readings are. Currently 12.8 volts. So we'll see. It needs at least, so usually when it comes to charging, you need at least 13 volts. At least 13 volts to charge anything. So we'll see. We'll bring the voltmeter with us. We gotta go get it under the earmuffs again, and we're gonna have to crank it up and see what kind of voltages we get. I was just kind of messing with it, but even before we fire it up, there's a little bit of voltage on the lines already, which is okay. But as I'm pulling it, I'm not pulling it fast enough so I can start it. But see how it's already getting power right there? That's a good sign. That's a real good sign. Do that again. That's a good sign, guys. It's a good sign. Alright, water's running. I just kind of pulled it, but you can now see there's a little bit of voltage there. Where's my... Oh, anyways. Yeah, let's see. 3.6. Let's fire up. Alright. Almost 14 volts. Almost 14 volts. That's really, really good. Alright, think that's I think that was a pretty good test, just to see the voltages work. And so far everything works perfect. Okay, I think that's good enough. The only thing left to do is now is just to hook it up. Hook it to the big battery, because that's just the wiring up tight onto the leads like that, because I just wanted to test to make sure my polarity and everything is right before we hook it up to the battery. This is a critical step. You don't want to just wire things up, because shit could go bad, could go south real bad. So this is a perfect test. Like I said, everything was perfect, everything appears to be perfect, and then that's all you can really hope for, guys. So, alright guys, I'm gonna have you guys watch the voltmeter as I go and crank the power on this thing. Everything is tied in, as you can see. Wires on, red's on positive, black is on the negative. And I'm gonna have you guys watch this and see if the voltage goes up or not. Alright guys, looks like that was a complete success. Let me get this out of the way so you guys can see this beauty. Yeah, looks like a complete success. I'm pretty satisfied with it. Long story short, how you do this on a tiller non-electric start motor is basically you need the magnetic pickups that are in there, you need that installed, and there's two lines that comes out, and we go to the stator, rectifier, regulator. Okay, those are kind of the three keywords. And then from there you just basically tie it to the battery, and make sure you put a little fuse here. Some people might even say you want a fuse here and another fuse on the other end, which is not a bad idea, or some type of a quick disconnect of some kind, which is also not a bad idea. In case you want to remove the motor, you might want to do something like that. But I don't plan on doing that. I plan on this is basically my permanent install. So we're going to keep it the way it is. And so far, everything on the boat is 12 volts. The trolling motor is 12 volts. All the lights are 12 volts. So if I ever feel like I'm down on power, I can always crank this thing up. And as long as I'm not on the trolling motor pulling so much power, it's ridiculous, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. So as long as the battery stays above halfway, we know we'll be pretty good. So pretty stoked with it. Been wanting to do this mod for a long time, just never had the time to do it. And actually today I took the day off, took a vacation day to do this. It's in the middle of winter, but today for some reason it's 65 degrees. So did it for you guys. So comment on the video if you like it. If you don't like it, if you think it's a dumb idea, let me know, because I did spend $70 on this. Okay, don't get me wrong, $70. All the items are in the product. All the parts you can get through eBay, because used parts. Okay, so eBay, 12 gauge wires, all the connectors, everything. Like, I'll have it listed down in the video description, kind of just to help you guys out, because I know there's a lot of boats that are real old that don't have this capability, and those guys, they might want this capability. I know especially true on the 9.9s and anything lower than that. So the only trick is you do have to go and look and see if your manufacturer even has an option for an electric start, because typically electric starts will have the holes kind of pre-drilled here, so you can just place the coils on there. But if you don't have that, then that's a totally different animal. Okay, even after doing all this still doesn't have electric start, which is what I wanted. I wanted a very bare minimal kind of simple boat. I didn't want electric start, I didn't want anything like that. So that's pretty much all I got for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you guys learned something, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, see ya.